Hey, it's Matt Moscona. You found it, your home for daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. It's AFR Saints. Do us a favor. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And all of our content this football season is presented by BetUS, where this season you can get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Be sure to use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the video. Mike, great to have you back for another season, man. We can't thank you enough for that. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Do you want to start big picture? Where are you? Positive, negative, pro, con on the sliding scale of optimism, pessimism for this Saints season? What a response.
Is there a number?
Well, let's go 1 to 10. 10 is they're winning the Super Bowl. 1 is they're the first pick in the draft.
Unfortunately, the same 5 that they've been since Sean Payton's last season here, since Drew Brees left. I think that's way better than they're being treated. I honestly think if you polled most Saints fans and said what was their record last year, I think they all think they went 6-11, not 9-8. I think they could very easily be the one that goes 9-8 or 10-7 and gets a home playoff game and wins one, like what Tampa Bay did last year.
Okay.
It's kind of how I felt about them last year. It's kind of how I felt about the year before. I don't think they're going to be like wildly better, but I don't think they're wildly worse either. And I'm kind of surprised that seems to be the dark cloud of perception around them. But, look, they're a flawed team. They have a low ceiling. Their best players are all older. It's going to need to be perfect to make it work. But the things that I am most interested in is I think they picked the right offensive system. They've got some flaws, obviously, starting with the offensive line, but if any system is going to mask the flaws, I think they made the right choice in offensive coordinator, the right choice in schemes, and I am really excited to see that play out on the field.
Why is it the right scheme?
Well, it just makes so much sense. When you study it around the league, obviously there's a reason half the teams in the NFL are running it, and it's made Brock Purdy and Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud and Tua Tagovailoa look like they're all-pro quarterbacks. And then just when you hear every player describe what they like about it, from the offensive line to the receivers to the running backs, they're going to have an efficient run game. It should be 2nd and 6. It should be 3rd and 2. They are going to run a lot of play action. That works in the NFL. They're going to run. It's worked for Derek Carr. They're going to run a lot of motion. That works in the NFL. It worked for this team when they finally started doing it last year. Their run plays are going to look like their pass plays. They have a good plan for Taysom Hill. They have a good plan for Alvin Kamara. They have a good plan for Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. So there are obviously limitations to this offense, but it seems like a very common sense approach to getting the most out of the people that they do have.
Are they deep enough at receiver?
I don't think they're deep enough at receiver in the sense that, Chris Olave is a number 1. I wish Rashid Shaheed was a number 2/3 or a 3 instead of your number 2 100%. And then I wish all the other guys, I think they all belong on NFL teams, but I think they're all number 5s or number 4s, Cedric Wilson, A.T. Perry, Bud Means, Mason Tipton. They're just, it would be such a better group if they just had that one surefire physical pass catcher, what Michael Thomas was, or a close replica of that. That's definitely what they're missing, especially since they don't really have that at the tight end position.
We'll get right back to the video, but thrilled to tell you this football season about our partnership with BetUS, and they are offering an incredible deal. If you love to sports bet like I do, you got to take advantage of this. It's a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Let me show you how easy it is when you go to BetUS. Let's say you want to bet Saints Panthers. You find the football tab, you'll hit the drop down. There's NFL odds week 1 on the left. It'll pop up, of course, that noon central window. We're looking for the Saints and the Panthers. There it is. Saints are a 4-point home favorite. To be perfectly honest, I love the Saints. They've won 5 straight openers. They should be a favorite in the Dome against the Panthers. I love the Saints defense. I just don't know that I love laying more than a field goal. So while I think the Saints win the game, I think the Panthers +4 is actually the play. So, of course, you choose Panthers +4. You'll come over here to your betting slip, and it's this easy. How much you want to wager? Let's go $25. We place the bet. It's going to ask us to confirm, which we will do right there. And boom, we are set. Got the Saints to win, but I laid $20 on the Panthers +4. It's just that easy at BetUS. And remember, you can get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Now, enjoy the rest of the video. You alluded to it, Mike, but let's talk about the pink elephant in the room. I don't have any reason for optimism around the offensive line. None whatsoever. And if that's a non-starter, I don't know how the engine goes if you don't have wheels on the car. So how does this work if the offensive line is what I think going to be maybe the worst in the NFL?
Well, I think the concept is you can mask it as much as possible through scheme. Quick passes, we've seen quick passes from OTAs all the way through the preseason. Quarterback gets rid of the ball quickly and makes a smart decision with it, with a play that was schemed up well, then, the offensive line doesn't have time to ruin that. The wide zone run scheme, allows you through concept to have a decently efficient running game. Their run game was technically the second worst in the NFL last year. It felt like, how could it not be the worst in the NFL when I watched it? Every time they ran the ball in 1st and 10, it was either 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11. They just need to be baby steps better. I mean, if they have the 20th best run game in the NFL, I think their offense will be markedly better. And if it's, like I said, if it's not 2nd and 13 and 3rd and 15, then I don't think teams are going to be keying off on them. So I just think putting them in a better position is the way to not make that, to use your analogy, take the wheels off the car. But it's certainly not going to be a strength. I mean, there's some strengths in there. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, I think they made a good draft pick with Tali Fuaga. But no, I mean, it's obviously the biggest concern on the team, no doubt about it.
Mike Triplett on Twitter, at Mike Triplett, neworleans.football. Convo every Thursday brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. I joined the Benny's Car Wash membership club 2 years ago. We started this with Mike. One of the best decisions I made. It's like $16 a month, something like that. It's unlimited car washes. Go learn more.
I hear people talking about your car, how good it looks all the time.
Dude, all
down
the
here
time.
in New Orleans, people talk about it.
Everywhere I go, hey, man, how'd you get that car so clean? Benny's. I mean, thank God they sponsored Mike Triplett's segment, so I knew about Benny's. Okay, so let's talk about the thing. Well, for one more, this weekend, how do you think, from what we think we know about Carolina's defense, how do you think the Saints' offense matches up against that defense specifically?
I think Carolina's defense should take a step back. I think they were really good last year, but they lost so many pieces while trying to fortify their offense that was so terrible last year. Yes, Jadeveon Clowney came, but they lost Brian Burns. I think the secondary is kind of a net loss for them too. They added pieces here and there to make up for the pieces they lost, but I think their defense went from being a strength to a question mark a little bit. And the fact that, I mean, you would say the same thing for the Saints. They don't know exactly what they are, getting them in week 1. I don't think that should be overbearing for the Saints in week 1. I think it gets worse when you see Michael Parsons a week later. But
it's kind of like what we saw last year with Arden Key in week 1, which was pretty devastating for Trevor Penning.
Very fair, very fair. I mean, look, he's going to be tested no matter what. I'm glad it's not Brian Burns going against him, but this Jadeveon Clowney could look really good himself.
Mike, I want to flip it over because while I am very, very, very sour on the Saints offense, like I don't think they're going to be good at all. I do think the defense is going to be quite good. How much better do you the big issue last year was the run defense. I hate that Colin Saunders is out, but I think Brian Brazier looked better. I mean, you've seen him a bunch. Do you think there's reason to think this run defense will be better?
Well, in general, I agree with you that I'm up on the offense, and while we've all been a little sour on, did the Saints get better enough on offense? Did they get better enough? I think they very quietly, while no one was paying attention, did get better on defense, and I think for two reasons. One, I think they underachieved on defense last year. I mean, there were times in the middle of their losing streak in the middle of last season where that defense had that uncharacteristic run of slow starts. Atlanta, Minnesota, Detroit, they were just coming out of the gate and playing lousy and then finishing kind of strong. But, you know, they were missing Marshawn Lattimore for that. Marshawn Lattimore's back here in week one. Paulson Adebo, you feel really good about. I think Alontae Taylor was like the most improved player in training camp, and Kool-Aid McKinstry wasn't even pushing any of those three for a starting job as much as you like that draft pick. I think Willie Gay's a nice addition at linebacker. I expect Pete Werner to be better. I think Chase Young is a tremendous addition on the defensive line that just makes that whole group better now that Carl Granderson's at number 2 and Cam Jordan's at number 3 and Peyton Turner and Isaiah Foskey are number 4 and number 5. And I think Brian Brzee should be better. So all across the board, I think it should just be an improved defense. But I do agree that the run defense is the biggest question mark of all of that. It's not Brian Brzee's strength. I think he should be better against the run, but I don't think that's a strength of his. I don't know if that's a strength for Chase Young. It's been a strength of Cam Jordan, but he's getting a little older. Nathan Shepard's okay at it. I think the linebacker play as part of the run defense should be better. Pete Werner and Willie Gay and DeMario Davis, but it's definitely fair to wonder how much better they are there, and it's definitely going to be fair to wonder how they're going to measure up in week 3 against Jalen Hurts, because that's something this defense has never been good at.
That's true. Mobile quarterbacks have always hurt this team. Like we even saw last year with Josh Dobbs on like 8 weeks or 8 days in Minnesota and hurt New Orleans. But if I look at the defense, so Mike, I do think they're going to be. I think they're going to be good at defensive end. I love Chase Young, Willie Gay on 1-year prove-it deals. They're going to be very good at corner. I guess my one question is Jordan Howden. I mean, is he the guy at safety opposite Tyron?
No, yeah. That's fair. That run defense and number 2 safety. But the thing about the number 2 safety is I think it's the number 5 DB. You know, you feel so good about the 2 outside corners, the slot corner, the other safety, that, you know, your 5th best defensive back on a team that plays 5 defensive backs all the time being a question mark. I think you can live with that. But you're right. That is not. It's a position they chose not to invest heavily in. They let Marcus May go. They didn't replace him with anybody expensive. You'd feel a lot better if they had signed Justin Simmons. So it is a question mark. But it's sort of like if you're going to tell me you can invest in 10 spots, that might be your 11th priority on defense, honestly.
On Twitter at Mike Triplett, how does the defense fare against Carolina on Sunday?
Well, I mean, you better hope they can tee off on them. I mean, Carolina was lousy on offense last year, and they made every possible effort to improve that. They hired the head coach, Dave Canales, who turned around Geno Smith in Seattle and then Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. They spent $20 million each practically per year on 2 new guards to protect him. They trade for Deontay Johnson to give him a weapon. They draft Xavier Legette and Jonathan Brooks, who won't be healthy enough to play yet. I mean, every single dollar they spent, every hiring decision they made was, you know, Bryce Young can never look like that again, or you know, we're totally screwed. But does that all come together in week 1? Certainly, probably not. And did they do enough to make, you know, great strides? It's incumbent on the Saints to make that look like a mismatch in week 1, and if they can't, schedule doesn't get any easier.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, they got to win week 1, man. I mean, it's If they lose to Carolina in the Dome, it's plausible they start 0-5. They're certainly not. They're not going to be favored in any of their first 5 after this one, right?
I don't think they will. Even if they could beat Carolina 34-3, and I think they'll still be the underdog in the other 4 games.
Right.
Maybe, I mean, but it's also just the culture they're living in right now. I don't know what the Dome's going to be like in week 1. I know what the Dome's going to be like if they're losing in week 1, and if they lose in week 1, it's perilous right now. They needed a hot start more than any Saints team I remember covering in a long, long time, and the schedule did not do them favors. So this is the one you have to get.
Do you think they get it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you know, it's funny, as lousy as we thought the Saints were last year, you know, they beat the Panthers both times they played them. They beat the the Patriots 34-0 on the road or whatever that game was. I mean, like, they were still pretty good at beating up on bad teams. They beat the Giants fairly easily. Like, I don't see why they can't still be the team that beats up on the bad teams. But week one, in some ways, I don't like this being their week one game for them, because week one is always a little bit of a crapshoot in the NFL. Weird things happen in week one. I don't think anybody would want to schedule their sure thing in week one, quote unquote, because sometimes that goes out the window in week one.
Mike, they got to win this game on Sunday, man. They
really
got to win.
Really do.
Oh man,
they really do.
If they drop Sunday, it's it's gonna be I don't even think about it. They're gonna go win on Sunday, and we'll have fun things to talk about at least for a week. Mike Triplett, neworleans.football, courtesy of Benny's Car Wash all throughout the season. Benny'sCarWash.com, Benny'sCarWash.com. Great people. Go learn about how you can get the Benny's membership club. I joined it 2 years ago. It's awesome. Like Mike said, I mean, people talk to me all the time about how clean my car is. I mean, I get it like everywhere I go. Do you get the same, Mike? People just tell you how clean your car is all the time?
No, people talk about how clean your car is.
No, they tell you how clean my car is.
They do. They text me all the time. Yeah.
They also have right now a wash and win sweepstakes where you can win a trip or two to the Tigers Bowl game this year. If you want to check it out, it's right there at the website, Benny'sCarWash.com. Mike, we appreciate it, man. Looking forward to doing this each Thursday.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for watching the video. Do us a favor, subscribe, smash the like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And remember, be sure to support BetUS right now. Get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150.